Hi everybody, Baruch Hashem. This shiur is going to be for the healthy delivery and pregnancy and delivery for Rivkah Badayana. Today, B'ezrat Hashem, Parashah Behalotecha, we're going to talk about three figures, and from these three figures, what we're going to learn from their personality and what has to do with our lives today. You know that over here, we know that the Parashah starts with Aharon HaKohen, that Hashem gives the command to Moshe to give to Aharon HaKohen to light the menorah. And when it comes to lighting the menorah, the Rashi says that he did not change, and that was a big compliment for him. So all the Mefarshim kind of asked, what do you mean? What's the compliment? If Moshe Rabbeinu comes to you and says something in the name of Hashem, are you going to move left or right from the command? What's the big deal that he didn't change? Anybody would do it. Answer is, few answers are given. One of them is that at the time that Aharon HaKohen was lighting the menorah, there was the same time in the Beit HaMikdash, another Kohen has to light the Ketoret. And we know that Ketoret, whoever lit the Ketoret, who did the Ketoret, it would bring richness to that person. But Aharon HaKohen, he never changed. For 40 years, he did the menorah, he never did the Ketoret, because he wanted to have the Ruchaniyut, which is the menorah, is a symbol of spirituality, over the Gashmiyut, which is the Ketoret. They say that the Kohanim, that they used to be inaugurated, they would give the Kohanim, the ones that just came in, to do the Ketoret so they become rich. But Aharon HaKohen did not care about that. And that's the big compliment that he gets, that he never moved away from the menorah of spirituality to Gashmiyut, for the money, to get rich. And we know that when it comes to menorah also, lighting the menorah, Aharon HaKohen, once the Chazal tell us, they just tell us that whoever lights candles, when it comes to candles of Shabbat, the husband is preparing the candles, and when it comes to menorah of lighting the candles of Chanukah, Hashem will give him banim zacharim tamidei chachamim. And that's what Aharon HaKohen wanted. He wanted banim zacharim tamidei chachamim that would go in the way of the Torah. Who cares if he's going to be rich and his kids are going to be on the streets till like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and they don't come home? What does that have to do? So many rich people today, how many problems they have? Well, they would have wished that they would go back and light those candles of Chanukah and shed the tears that the kids should become Tamidei Chachamim. That's what we take from Aharon HaKohen. You know that there was a story, this recording is being brought to you in the neighborhood of Harnof in Yerushalayim, where Rabbi Sternbach lives over here. We know that Rabbi Sternbach, he should live and be well. He's almost 100 years old. When he was younger, with another Bachur, whose name is Rabbi Reichman, who's also a very big rabbi today and extremely rich. But the story is, when they were kids in the yeshiva back in Europe, these two took upon themselves to one of them that they would also, one of them would go and get the bread from the bakery every morning and bring it to the Bachurim so that they should, when they get up and they daven, they should have breakfast and they should have a good day of learning. The other one was in charge of going and knocking on the doors of the Bachurim to wake him up for Shachrit. Years later, the Rosh Yeshiva, when they had to leave Europe, he said that I want to give you both a bracha. The one that used to go to the bakery early morning to get the bread, that he should become a very rich person. That ended up to being the Rabbi Reichman. If you know the Reichman winery today, one of the richest in the world. And the second one, Rabbi Sternbach, he gave him the bracha that he went and knocked on the doors of the Bachurim, that he should become a very big Talmid Chacham. And Baruch Hashem, he's the Pasuk Adora today, that B'liyan Nara is one of the remaining sages that we have from the last generation at Ma'aveh Esrim B'ezrat Hashem. And I heard one time that Rabbi Reichman used to cry and say, I wish I was the one who would go knock on the doors instead of going and bringing the bread. Now we're talking about Rabbi Reichman here. Rabbi Reichman, although he's a very rich person, he's also a Talmid Chacham. But he says that he cries over the fact why he couldn't be the other one and become like someone like Rabbi Sternbach. We see from this, the story of Aharon HaKohen. When he came to Gashmiyut, even if he did the Ketoret is also doing the mitzvah of Hashem. But it has to do more with, maybe there's in the alternative motives over here. I want to become rich. Aharon wanted 100% spirituality. I want Tamidei Chachamim. I want Banim Zacharim Tamidei Chachamim. I don't want Banim Zacharim that everybody would give me compliments. He has another son, another son, another son. Like they say by Rav Yaakov Sofer, he has 10 sons. They compliment him every Brit Milah, and he says, "What are you complimenting me? I don't have a grow yet. I didn't do Pislah Paro Revu." These rabbis are thinking about the spiritual and the mitzvot, and that's what the Haron HaKohen is coming to teach us. That's number one. Number two, we also want to talk about Miriam and Eviyah, which comes at the end of this Parashah. We know that all of us are here today because of a 5-year-old girl named Miriam. What do I mean? Miriam and Eviyah, when everybody had given up in the hardships of Egypt, where people were dying through the hard work, Miriam and Eviyah is going around and is giving, a Nevuah, giving prophecy that there's going to be a brother of him coming, being born, and he's going to save all the Jewish people. And everybody's like, screaming at her, slapping her in the face. Even her father, when Moshe Rabbeinu was born and they had to throw the baby into the Nile, as the mother Yochai put the baby in the Nile, so it says in the Midrash, she slapped her in the face. Why did you bring me back to your mother so we could bring another baby so he could be killed? But Miriam did not give up. She went, we all know the story, that went by the Nile and watched over Moshe Rabbeinu to see what's going to happen. And for 86 years, she waited for a prophecy to come true. And that's why we know that she brought out the trumpets with all the women. And Az Yashir Moshe, and finally all the Egyptians drowned. Everybody says this is over there. The only time in the Torah, it says Miriam and Eviyah, Achot Aharon, that before Moshe was born, she was given the prophecy and she believed that this is going to happen. Why am I saying all this background for? Because we know that at the end of the Parsha, there's a Midrash and says that Miriam saw Sipporah, the wife of Moshe Rabbeinu. Different versions, she didn't have too much makeup on, the least that a woman should look attracted to her husband. And or when she heard that Sipporah heard that Eldad and Medar become Nevi'im, she said, "Oh, they're poor wives." So Miriam asked Sipporah, "Why are you saying this?" Is that because? What do you mean? Since Moshe became a Navi, we haven't been together like we used to be. So of course Miriam did not know that this is a command from Hashem, that because Moshe Rabbeinu was in a different level and he has to speak to Hashem at every given second, so he has to separate from his wife. It doesn't mean that they were chas v'shalom, separated altogether. They were in divorce, but they couldn't be intimate together like they used to be. Miriam didn't know that. So Miriam, she wanted to make shalom bayit. She came to Aharon, not in public, not on YouTube, not on WhatsApp. Came to Aharon, took Aharon to the side, and spoke just between a caring sister talking to an older brother, caring brother. Let's make shalom bayit between Sipporah and Moshe. Yes, even Moshe Rabbeinu and Sipporah, they could have shalom bayit problems. So what happens? We all know the story that Hashem heard, and Hashem called out to Miriam, Aharon, and Moshe to come out, and called out Aharon and Miriam, and said, "Why are you talking about Moshe Rabbeinu? Don't you know that he's a Navi, that I speak to him every second?" And the next pasuk it says that Moshe was the Anav. He was the most humble man. He never told anybody that his nevuah, his level of prophecy, is higher than Miriam or Aharon. Everybody thought that's how humble he was. The greatness of a person is anava. That no one ever knew until this point that he was a higher Navi. Everybody thought that through sleep, Moshe gets his nevuah through sleep or through whatever it is. They didn't know he speaks. So Miriam and Aaron, they saw that they made a mistake. But Hashem said, because you said Lashon Hara, and because of this, she got sarat, and we all know that everybody had to stay for 7 days, and it was very embarrassing. They didn't travel. Why? Because Miriam spoke Lashon Hara. The Ramban Nachmanides asked a question, but Miriam, we just gave all the background. She's the one who saved Moshe Rabbeinu. She's the one who's screaming for 86 years that there's going to be Geulah. Don't give up. She should be the one that is written about her in the Chumash, in the Torah for eternity, that this is the Lashon Hara that we learn from her, all the Lachot. Why can't it be written in the Midrash, put it away? So it wouldn't be so embarrassing. It's not so nice to talk about Tzaddikim that way. So first of all, one answer is, the Torah is not politically correct. Hashem says it, whatever needs to be said, and is actually coming to say to us that this was the only Averah of Miriam HaTzaddiket for 125 years that she lived. But unlike the other, people, other sects or cults, whatever it is, that they always cover up for the bad things and they always bring the good things. Hashem says, no, in my Torah, we write everything so that people could learn from it. So Miriam and Eliyahu, although this was her only sin, Hashem wanted to bring it out so much so we can learn from it. We can learn how bad Lashon Hara is, and it had to happen in a way that everybody found out, but it's actually a zechut for it, because all the zechut of Lashon Hara that we're learning today is all the zechut of Miriam and Eliyahu, that what happened to her, what could happen if Hashem did not save her after all the sitkut that she had, all the righteousness. So too the Chafetz Chaim says, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? That today everybody is like speaking Lashon Hara, like nothing's going on. Like we said earlier, YouTube, WhatsApp, all these things. Once one thing is said, it can't come back, and it's already on newspapers, already on everybody's talking about it. And if they see what happened to Miriam and Eliyahu, they would think 10,000 times before they say Chas v'Shalom Lashon Hara, which could ruin lives. So I thought maybe to discuss what the Chafetz Chaim speaks about, the different midot, the last 5 minutes we have over here, that makes a person to, if he uses these midot, these tendencies to use, if they don't use it in the right way, it could very well lead a person to say Lashon Hara. But again, all these midot that I'm going to mention, they could always be good, used in a good way. For example, kas, anger. Before we talk about how it could lead to Lashon Hara, we'll talk about the good stuff first. A person could use anger to be angry to see what's going on in the world, the kavod, that the honor of Hashem is being trampled upon. And he should pray to Hashem that, all the people, the Jewish people, to be chozer b'tshuva, and the level of the Shekhinah, the Moshiach should come. All the cry, the kas could be used for that in his heart to pray to Hashem better. Next is leitzanut. Being a joker, of course, a person could joke around, make another person feel happy. The Gemara talks about how one of the big Tanaim, Eliyahu Navi in the Shul, says, who's been Olam Haba here? Who has the world to come? He says, these two people. He went and asked them, what do you do? He said, we're jokers. What do you mean you're jokers? You're the only ones here that Olam Haba, jokers? Yeah, because we ever see that two people have a machloket, we go try to make up between them. And whenever we go to somebody, we see they're down, we make faces, and we put, like today we call it clown doctors that go and make patients happy. So being a joker also could be used in a good way. Another one is ego. A person could have ego that he's born Jewish and he has the Torah and he has ego to learn Torah and get closer to Hashem. That's an honor. That's the right of using ego. Next thing is hefker. That a person should make everything else hefker in his life, meaning ownerless, and stick to Torah and mitzvot and go in the right direction. And the next thing is negativity. A person could look at things that are taking a person away from the Torah in a negative way, and that would keep him away from that. Like, whatever it is, different things that people could think of. I don't want to give examples right now. And the last thing is Omer Mutar, ignorance. Sometimes ignorance is a good thing. As we say, curiosity killed the cat. And if we're not so curious, and some things that we want to be ignorant about, so we don't have to go and check out everything that this guy is doing, this guy is doing, and eventually they fall into the same trap. So sometimes ignorance is good. So saying the good things now, let's put it away. Let's talk about the Chafetz Chaim brings these. Kol Gehenam is called the Rosh Tavot, and it means all is Hell, hell. That if a person does not use these midot in the right way, like we said, for examples that we gave, he could go straight to Gehenam, and that's what he's going to get if he doesn't use it in the right way. Because these things, these midot, are the ones that lead to Lashon Hara the most. Chafetz Chaim explains how. Kas. Kas is very simple to explain. When a person gets angry, everything becomes hefker. Chazal tell us, the sages tell us, that when a person gets angry, even the Shekhinah is not important in front of him anymore. Meaning, if Hashem, b'kavodat small, Hashem reveals himself to him and says, hey, stop what you're doing right now, he'll push the Shekhinah to the side. And that's why our sages tell us that whoever gets angry is as though he's doing Avodah Zarah, is asur to look at his face, because he himself has become Avodah Zarah. He becomes an idol himself, because a person who's get angry, he starts with one thing, and he could get to all the bad midot and all the averot of the Torah, chas v'shalom. Next thing that we learn to Lashon Hara is leitzanut. Like we said, be joking around with the family, with the kids to make them happy. That's a good thing. But to joke around in order to put other people down so you could get yourself up, that's already getting yourself involved with Lashon Hara. Yeah, a lot of times we see when we are at family meetings or we are by friends, we start joking around. This community, that community, from this country, that city. A lot of times people don't know that all this joking around is just buying them more and more houses and villas in Gehenna, in hell. Why? Because they're using this level of joking around, and by joking around, a lot of times in joking around, you get to a lot of lashon hara. This guy did this guy did that, ha ha ha. Even if the guy is sitting, the guy you're talking about is sitting in front of you. So everybody says, look, he's joking about it, he's not saying anything. Because he's embarrassed. The kid doesn't want to say anything. If he says something, that means that you're going to make another joke about him, another joke. But in the meantime, you're putting daggers into his heart. This joking of yours is buying you vilot and vilot of Gehenna. Next, Hefker. Why do people come to sing Lashon Hara? Because they feel that this mitzvah has become honorless. Yeah? Like we say in the Gemara, met mitzvah. A lot of people look around today, hi, this guy is talking Lashon Hara, that guy doesn't care. Nobody's pork. Nobody, chas v'shalom does this. Nobody kills. Nobody does adultery. These things are not so common. But everybody's talking Lashon Hara, Rabbi. Why don't we just all do it? It's honorless. So why don't you go out and flip yourself off the mountain like everybody else is doing it? You wouldn't do that, right? If you're eating something non-kosher right now, I told you that there's poison in there. You spit it out. That's how the Chafetz Chaim says that you have to look at Lashon Hara. That who cares if people are doing it? Think universal, act local. You work on it yourself. Don't look at what other people are doing. Look at other people that are going in the right direction and try to be like them. But when you see negative effects, stay away from that. Next thing is narganut. And unfortunately, this is very, very common in our generation. And that's being a negative person. A person has become negative, meaning that he always looks at other, because he's not working on himself, to make himself happy by learning Torah, by doing mitzvot, by thanking Hashem for all the things Hashem is giving him instead of complaining all the time. So he becomes a negative person. A person is not more negative. He makes himself either positive by thinking happy thoughts, by saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you for giving me everything I need. I have hands, I have legs, I could breathe, I'm married, I have kids. But he's negative, and he thinks that because of his negative, because he hasn't worked on himself, so everybody else around him is against him. He goes in town and says, this guy comes into the Beis Mikdash, says, oh, if it wasn't for him, I'll be the Rav of this town. If it wasn't for him, I'll get more respect. So what does he do? He goes and opens his files and brings everything negative about that guy who did teshuva on it, or whatever it is. He wants to embarrass him, and he buries him because of his negativity, and it says Lashon Hara. And that's the best way to bury him, to say Lashon Hara about him. And the last thing is Omer Mutar. I says, Rabbi, not only this is not Lashon Hara, it's a mitzvah to talk about this Rasha. And that's ignorance. Because he doesn't know the halachot, because he hasn't gone and learned, so he thinks it's a mitzvah. The Yetzer Hara comes and tells him, no, this guy, this guy is that. It's a mitzvah to talk about him. But if he had gone and learned the halachot and learned the musar, and he knows that and sometimes it is a mitzvah to talk about it, like about Rosh Hashanah, like talking about Hitler, or somebody who's going against the Torah. The Chafetz Chaim says it's a mitzvah to talk about him. That's not Lashon Hara, because you're trying to keep away other people for learning from this negative traits. This guy is living a life of Sodom and Amorah, and this guy is, of course, you could talk about it to keep these people away from him, or keep your children away from them. That is a mitzvah. But to come and not learn the halachot, and because you're hurt and your feelings are hurt, you start looking, Yetzer Hara tells you, no, it's a mitzvah to bury him. It's a mitzvah to bury him. That's ignorance. And all these traits, like I said, it's all called Gehenna. It buries a person in Gehenna. So we have to learn from Miriam HaSadeket, from Aharon HaKohen, who's Ohev Shalom V'Rodef Shalom, that we have to always, first of all, work on ourselves, not to, especially on these midot, these character traits, not to come to Lashon Hara because of this midot ra'ot, and actually go with the midah of Aharon HaKohen, and also Miriam HaNeviah, who sacrificed herself for her brother, and Aharon HaKohen, who chooses to light the menorah for 40 years. Come on, do it already one time. Get rich. This is your Lola. This is your price. You're going to be a multimillionaire. No, you didn't change for 40 years. Because my kids are more important. It's more important for me, for my kids to become Talmidei Chachamim, Banim Zacharim, Talmidei Chachamim. Not to go on the streets or two on the street to stop looking at all these videos and all these, smoking, drugs, whatever it is. Because I have to cry right now. I want to do the menorah. I want to light the menorah. And that's what Aharon HaKohen is. And look at what we have today. Baruch Hashem, Aharon HaKohen. Mamlechet Kohanim v'Kohen Kadosh. That the Kohanim are holy till today because Aharon chose to light the menorah. He never changed. B'ezrat Hashem, we should learn from Aharon HaKohen to always pray for our kids and to choose the Ruchaniut and don't care about the Gashmiut because this is our future. Our kids are our future. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to get all the brachot and learn from Miriam HaSadeket and Neviah not to say Lashon Hara. And this is the biggest zuchut for her. And it's the biggest zuchut for us not to go with this bad character traits, but to use all these character traits in a good way. And B'ezrat Hashem with this, we should be zocheh to Moshiach Tzidkenu v'chetzor ha'amim v'nam enu amen. Thank you.